You must construct additional pylons.
There are a few questions that may well pop up when StarCraft 2 is being discussed. What is the relevance of a sequel to a 12-year-old game? Does it actually bring anything new to the RTS genre? And was it worth the wait? To the first, I answer, very. The original StarCraft has sold somewhere in the region of 11 million copies and is basically a national sport in South Korea. There are gamers that make a living as professional StarCraft players, so a sequel to a game like that is very relevant indeed. To the second, I would have to say no. Aside from a few interface and unit interaction tweaks, this is basically StarCraft, but with textured polygons. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is for you to decide. If after playing Supreme Commander or Dawn of War you decided that there's absolutely no going back, I doubt you'll dig the decidedly old school gameplay. As for me, I basically grew up on Blizzard RTS games. Although the fact that nothing's changed in 12 years is a little interesting, shall we say, I love Blizzard RTS games, so by that definition, the lack of any significant advancement doesn't bother me at all. But was it worth the wait? It pains me to say this, but not really. This is a fun game, don't get me wrong, and despite a few niggles that I'll come to later, the campaign is all kinds of awesome. Sadly, there are a few too many problems with the package as a whole that served only to drag down the moment I'd been waiting for since I was 15. And those problems are basically BattleNet 2.0. In previous Blizzard games like Warcraft 3 or Diablo 2, BattleNet was quite unobtrusive. For StarCraft 2, Blizzard in their infinite wisdom have integrated BattleNet with the game itself. You need to log into BattleNet to access the game. And when you do so, I don't know, the game just then has a feeling of being secondary to BattleNet. For example, here's the splash screen. Start campaign, or continue campaign in this case, and the tutorial button are way down here, practically out of view, but forefront is the BattleNet news and community thing, which I hasten to add has not actually changed since I got the game, and some bullshit Facebook thing. Without wishing to put too fine a point on it, I haven't been waiting over a decade for this game so I can add a ton of friends and talk to them whilst I play the game. I've been waiting for this game for over a decade so I could play the campaign. Although I will dabble in it, multiplayer is not a priority for me. And social networking in a military sci-fi RTS game is another thing that has absolutely no meaning to me whatsoever. A major bugbear for me has been the offline mode. In my case, and in fact in the case of many other people as well, it doesn't work. None of the solutions offered on the tech support forums have worked. At the time of recording, a fix was apparently planned for the next major patch or update, but we've had the next major patch or update and it still doesn't work. Even if it does get fixed in the not too distant future, the annoyance is that it shouldn't have needed fixing in the first place. People have been making offline games for decades. It surely cannot be this difficult. Additionally, since release, BattleNet has been down in some fashion on at least 3 occasions. Now, this actually caused me some annoyance on the third time it happened, I think, as I was attempting to get a few achievements, mostly out of boredom to be fair, but that is totally unacceptable if you are trying to promote the always connected experience. All that is then added to by a few other things about BattleNet 2.0 that I didn't think would annoy me, but actually do annoy me now that I'm presented with them. Specifically, the lack of cross-region play. Now, what that basically means is that me, as a gamer in the UK and therefore on the EU servers, I am unable to play with anyone on the US servers or on the Asian servers or whatever. Now, I knew about this long before I pre-ordered the game, and as I say, at the time I didn't think it would annoy me at all. However, between then and now, I've actually come across a couple of people that I wouldn't actually mind playing in a transatlantic slugfest, shall we say, but unfortunately BattleNet 2.0 does not provide this sort of facility. That's actually quite a pathetically humorous situation, you might say, when you take into account how much time Blizzard have been bleating on about BattleNet 2.0 being a very community-oriented service, especially when you take into account things like the lack of cross-region play. It's such demonstrable bullshit, it's just hilarious. And add that to the DRM, which is what prevents me from running an offline mode in the first place. Couple that with the fact that this DRM was cracked practically on the day of release, thus showing it to be utterly useless and again giving the pirates a better gaming experience than me, the legitimate paying customer. And basically all that just combined to take the shine off this game for me. It wasn't worth waiting 12 years to put up with all this crap. Okay, that's my ranting about the abortion that is BNet 2.0 done with. Now, on to the campaign. Yay! This is what I've been waiting for. The original StarCraft is one of my favourite games of all time. This is mainly down to the campaign story, as it is exactly my sort of epic sci-fi cliche-ridden goodness, and I loved every damn minute of it. I'm pleased to report that the Wings of Liberty campaign delivers exactly that, even if parts of it are blown by the game's opening cinematic. The campaign is presented in a fairly unique manner for an RTS, to my knowledge at least. The space between missions is filled by an interactive hub. At this hub, you can initiate short dialogue scenes between good old Jim Raynor and one of several other characters, as well as conduct research or otherwise upgrade your army. Now, this is the most interesting feature because it ostensibly allows rudimentary customization of your army. For example, researching stim packs and improved medic heal instead of combat shields and being able to shove more people into a bunker. The plus point is whatever you upgrade, it is a permanent upgrade, meaning that you don't need to research it during the missions. Now, the hub as a concept I like. I just don't think it's been implemented quite as well as it could have been. Conversations with characters sometimes reveal details about other characters, but doesn't then seem to have any impact on interactions with those characters. The hub is also where you kick off missions, and this is where the campaign falls over a little. There are a few plot strands you can follow, but because you can pick and choose what order you do them in, the strands lose any sense of urgency. What's the point in receiving a distress call for immediate assistance when you can ignore it for as long as you damn well please? To be fair though, that is a problem shared by basically every game with a pick your mission system. Fortunately, the missions themselves are basically excellent. Each has its own gimmick or mechanic that extends beyond the basic build-based train troops charge formula. Although that has resulted in no mission, on hard difficulty at least, lasting much more than an hour, the variety on offer is quite impressive. On top of that, the tile sets are truly gorgeous and do a lot to give a sense of individuality to each mission. Additionally, each mission on offer also grants you access to a new unit. Couple that with the ability to choose your mission order, it allows for some replayability, with missions becoming easier, harder, or perhaps even just more entertaining depending on your available units. One thing Blizzard are known for are the cinematics, as they are often stunning to behold. There are sadly very few pre-rendered cinematics here, although the few that are here are nevertheless cinema quality. The bulk of the cinematics are handled by the game engine itself. Although by definition not as good looking as pre-rendered ones, the in-game cinematics are nevertheless well made and well presented, with a few making me wish that they were pre-rendered. The advantage with using the in-game engine though is that there is less discontinuity between the cinematics and the environments presented to the player. I've only really got a few complaints about the campaign. The first is that the difficulty curve is a bit wonky. Playing on hard difficulty, some missions were piss easy, a few were bastard hard. The second is that there is only the Terran campaign. Now, you can prattle on about the content being equal to the original StarCraft all you like, but having to wait more than a year for the Zerg campaign is very, very annoying. A quick note on achievements. Now, I'm largely indifferent to achievements as a whole. The sorts of achievements I like are the ones that give you stuff to enhance your gaming experience or otherwise reward you well. Call of Duty 4 gave you new guns and perks, Sonic Adventure 2 I think it was, gave you a 3D test version of Green Hill Zone to play. In StarCraft 2 you get new avatar portraits and decals for your multiplayer army. You'll forgive me if I don't give a fuck. The achievements in themselves aren't too bad, and each campaign mission has 3 achievements which give you something else to do, and a few of the multiplayer achievements are decent as well. But a chunk are basically points for grinding, such as win 500 1v1 games as Terran. Honestly, I doubt I'll play 500 1v1 games in total, never mind winning them. There are ways to implement achievements and rewards for achievements, and this is not the best way. Overall, I don't know quite what to make of StarCraft 2. The game itself is excellent and I enjoyed every minute of the campaign. But because I have a tendency to be an anally retentive obsessive motherfucker with a clearly defined view of what is and what is not acceptable to me in my games, all the bullshit with Battle.net and faulty DRM has really pissed me off and negatively impacted my first few hours of play. Interestingly enough, equipment failure meant that a single player crack is now sitting on my desktop somewhere. So, I think in the end I would recommend the game itself quite happily. But frankly, the service that it has been lumbered with can sod off and die.